Okay, so I think we can all agree that it's pretty hard to get views online. It's pretty hard to get people to follow you, and it's pretty hard to sell people stuff online, especially if you want to try and sell people stuff without spending more money on ads. But there is a little known, little seen opportunity that I see people like Alex Hormozy and Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis and some of these really well known people doing that actually translates well to every kind of everyday company. You know, the brand that sold me this hat, the brand that sold me this hoodie. Any of those companies could do this. And even lesser known creators without a following or lesser known comedians without a following could also do this. And I think that this is one of the biggest opportunities of 2025 because I think the market's going to be flooded with AI content and stuff like that. So I think this is, if you're not doing this already, you should be, whether you're a brand, you're running a brand, running marketing at a brand, or whether you're a content creator or a comedian. This is a great way for you to make money if you're a content creator or comedian while you grow your viewership. And this is a great way to make sales without additional ad spend if you're a brand. So let's break this down. All right. So first of all, so that you understand who I am, my name is John Coyle, and I work for a company called Triple Whale, where I just do consulting with companies, mostly companies that sell products on Shopify. So these would be companies that sell physical products, like I said before, my hat, my hoodie, stuff like that, right? Microphone in front of me, my keyboard, the, drinks, the, mug on my desk, that kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that these companies sell. And I've probably been on, no joke, close to 2,000 consulting calls this year. My job is to help them with their marketing, help them with growth. I had a paid media and social media marketing agency that I sold. I've been an internal CMO at a couple different companies. Now I just work at this company helping our customers. Our customers use our software. And, so we want them to be able to grow and stay in business so that they stay on our software. So that's my job. Okay. I have seen very few companies really getting what I'm about to talk about right. And so I think that I'm just going to try and lay it all out there, and I'm going to try and do it in a way where I know a lot of content creators watch this show. A lot of comedians like to watch the show. I also know a lot of marketing directors and creative directors and entrepreneurs, brand founders like to watch this show as well. So I'm going to try and lay this out in a way that it makes sense to all of you guys, because I think those of you who are in the content game and in the comedy game, and those of you who are in the entrepreneurship game, you're not connecting with each other, right? So I want you to see this video as the way, or this podcast episode as the way that you connect with each other, right? So I'm going to try and bring it together for you guys, because that's what is really missing at the core, right? So let me walk through it step by step. All right. So first of all, let's talk about content and how companies think about quote unquote content. All right. So companies think about content in top funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So they say anything for anybody who isn't product aware or even, solution aware, that's top of funnel content. So if I've never heard of the brand that, sells this hoodie before, then any content they reach me with is top of funnel content, right? So that could just be a dude wearing this hoodie targeted at people who've never heard of us before. That's top of funnel content, okay? That's how they think about that. Middle of funnel content would be things like objection killers. Oh, it's really soft, or, the last hoodie I'll ever buy, or something like that, right? Testimonials. And then bottom of funnel might be some kind of deal oriented content. All right. So that's generally how brands think about content: top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. What they're missing, what content creators and comedians inherently understand about the internet and about social media, is that they're missing that top of funnel content actually has its own sort of buckets, right? There's top of funnel content like I talked about, where it's like, some UGC of a guy unboxing this hoodie, putting it on, it's soft, he can wear it in all kinds of weather, right? A lot of times we would see that as top of funnel content in the business game, right? And the entrepreneurs or the creative directors would see that as top of funnel content. Or some girl saying, hey, I've got my man this hoodie and now he looks so good, I can't keep my hands off of him. A lot of people on the brand side, they would see that as top of funnel content. I think that creators and comedians inherently understand that that isn't top of funnel content. Like, nobody really cares about that unless they're already pretty much looking for a hoodie, or if you pay to put it in front of them, then they care about it, right? And this is where a lot of brands are missing with their organic social media strategy, is that they're like, what do we do that works on organic that isn't for an ad? Right? Or they think, okay, we make top of funnel ads. And that's what I said before. That's the girl saying that she bought this hoodie and she can't keep her hands off her man. And then they make, organic social content. And that's just like their, social media manager, their social media manager doing a dance, a TikTok trending dance, because we don't really know what to do with social media, or they just post like photos of their new products on social media and that like they call it good, right? So they just like they don't really know what to do with organic. So let me break this down. I think there are actually 3 stages of top of funnel content. So you got top, middle, and bottom of funnel for sure. But I think there's actually 3 stages of top of funnel content. And I think the creators and comedians will be kind of with me on this. And I think the brands, you guys you got to pay attention, because I think this is going to be helpful for you. All right. So the first stage is what I call bait content. Bait content, its sole purpose is to get views. All right. So Mr. Beast makes bait content. His whole thing is, I'm trying to get as many views as possible. I'm trying to make this video, this one single individual video, go as viral as possible. That's bait content. It's just like, like as baity as it can possibly be to get people to watch it. Okay, so that's the sole purpose of bait content. That's like really top of funnel. And I think that's what brands are kind of doing when they're saying, I guess let's try doing some trending TikTok dances. Okay, but there's mostly brands don't want to do that because they're like, well, how does that kind of content relate to our product at all? All right, and then there's a second level of content that is called, what I'll call it, bridge content. Now, bridge content, its job is still to get as many organic views as possible. So it's supposed to be good content that people will watch organically, but it has some sort of tie-in. It bridges to either the problem that the product solves, or the niche, the type of people. It attracts the right type of people. So think of the bridge content is like a honeypot, right? Like this kind of like content is meant for the kind of people who will like this brand. And usually there's a little bit more of like a intro to product, or intro to brand, or intro to the concept that you need to be on board with the brand. And I'm going to show examples of all of this in a second. I think bridge content is the hardest to understand, and that is why brands don't do it well. And that is the opportunity for creators to come in, because I think creators understand bridge content. And then the last type of content, I'll call it banner content. Top of funnel content is exactly what I was talking about before. It's just ads, right? Like top of funnel ads. It's some girl doing UGC about how she can't keep her hands off her man because of his new hoodie. All right. So I'm going to show you some examples of all of this. Now, I'm going to forewarn you and say, not a lot of brands are great at bridge content. All right. And so I'm going to spend most of this episode pitching bridge content ideas for different brands that have wrote in to me and said that they want me to come up with some ideas for them. All right. So I'm going to spend most of the episode doing that. There's not a lot of really good examples out there of bridge content, but I have a couple. All right. So to illustrate all 3 stages of bait content, bridge content, banner content, I'm just going to show you with a brand called Dog Sauce. All right. So dog sauce is sauce that you put on your dog food, makes the dog food taste better, makes your dogs want to eat, whatever, just, a way to pamper your dog, treat them like the king that they are. All right. So here's an example of bait content. This is for the audio listeners, just a video. It's a one-shot video of a dog reacting to his owner talking to him.
You play with all the dogs, okay?
Oops, sorry about that. I started it too late. Here we go.
So I'm going to pick you up at 2:30 today, Norbert, because I want you to get a little bit of a nap before Coyle comes over. She's going to come over with Jason, and she'll play in the backyard with you, and you can show her all your best hunting spots, okay? So now we go camp day. You play with all the dogs. Okay, you're such a good boy.
Okay, so that's bait. That's just content that dog lovers love, right? So the comments on that are there's a lot of comments on that one. It's like tell Norbert I love him. Tell Norbert I hope he has a good nap and a good day. There's people talking about her accent, like I think Kylie's gonna come over and play in the backyard. I bet I know where Norbert's from. Right. So that's kind of what that is. It's just content that dog lovers will love. It has nothing to do with Dog Sauce. You have no idea who Dog Sauce is from listening to that or from watching that video. By the way, the tag or the title overlay on the video says Norbert has a very busy schedule. He's got to take a nap, and then he's got to come over and play with Jason. I think Jason is a dog, because he's supposed to be showing Jason all of his favorite hunting spots. Jason's a strange name for a dog. So I don't know, maybe Jason's a human and Norbert is supposed to show Jason the human his hunting spots. Unclear. I need to follow up on this. I think I'm invested now in Norbert's life. So not sure what's going on there, but That's bait content. All right. So the next is bridge content. And again, I think not a lot of brands are really great at bridge content. So I'm going to show you another example from a different brand after this, but I think this is a good, decent example of bridge content from Dog Sauce. All right. So the title of this with like the kind of text overlay on this video says my dog when it's time to eat. And just so the audio listeners understand what it looks like, it's basically just a bunch of kind of famous movie lines green screened in front of somebody putting dog sauce onto dog food.
There it is. Holy moly. Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for! Dear God. It's beautiful.
All right, so still sort of meant to go viral. My dog when it's time to eat, and then it's all these kind of, famous movie quotes that are really recognizable. So there's some kind of attempt at virality built in there, green screened over product, right? So here we're bridging from just content that has mass appeal. A lot of people would like this. A lot of dog lovers would get this and like this and think it's funny. If it was like, let's say it wasn't green screened over anything, and this was just a mashup of all of those different movie quotes, and the overlay was my dog when it's time to eat, you could see something like that going viral, amongst dog lovers. So they're attempting to do that, but just green screen it over product, which is not a bad move for bridge content. So that's exactly what I mean. It's just like, what is something that could already go viral? What is something that is just content for content's sake? It's meant to be there for views that we can just kind of soft intro this product with. Bridge content, a great filter for bridge content if you're a brand, if you're a marketer or an average, a media buyer or a marketing director or an entrepreneur, a great filter for bridge content is, could I run this as an ad if I wanted to? All right. So a lot of times like that bait content where Norbert, we're just talking about Norbert's Day, you can run that really as an ad for dog sauce. Wouldn't make sense as an ad for dog sauce, no matter how many views it gets. It just doesn't really make sense. It doesn't intro dog sauce at all. It's just there for views, right? This you could run as an ad for dog sauce, right? Because it intros the product. All right. And then lastly is what I call banner content. And this is kind of your typical sort of top of funnel ads they see on Instagram, TikTok, etc. So here's one of those.
Package from a brand that makes sauce for dogs. This brand is called Dog Sauce, and it's original dressing and hard and soft dog food. Came with a note. Hello, Lucy Lou. Welcome to the Sauce Squad. We're happy to have you. We've been working hard to provide your doggo with the top human-grade food topper. Get ready to sauce it up. It's a little sauce dog toy. Chicken and sweet potato. Beef and sweet potato. Came with a whole bowl. Look at this dog bowl. Look at how nice it is. It smells like baby food. Lucy, what do you think of it? She does not care about the sauce. All she cares about is her dog toy. Thank you so much, Dog Sauce, for sending over all your stuff. Oh, Lucy, you just want the toy, don't you? Okay, bye.
Just a couple things there. I think it's genuine UGC. I don't think that the dog sauce smells like baby food. I don't think that's a compliment to the dog sauce. Like she's like, smells like baby food. It's incredible. And I think people are like, I don't know if I think I want it less now because of that. Also, I like how she's like, my dog isn't interested in the sauce at all. Like that's the whole thing. It's supposed to be really good. So whatever, criticize her UGC or whatever, but you guys get it. That is the kind of thing that there'd be no way people would really watch that. You would have no reason to believe that video would take off organically and get a lot of views organically, right? That is pretty purely, if we're only looking at what will get views organically, you would actually look at that piece of content as bottom of funnel. But if we were only looking through the perspective of ads and what ads would perform, you would look at that piece of content as top of funnel. And I think that's my whole point here, is that organic and top of funnel are almost funnels, or organic and ads are almost funnels on top of each other. And they meet at this point of what I call banner content. Okay. Because that second ad is kind of a tough example of bridge content, like that one's almost banner content where it's sort of viral movie quotes over the top of dog sauce. I'm going to show you another example of banner content. All right. Not banner content, bridge content. I'm going to spend most of this episode talking about bridge content because I think that's the opportunity. Like I said, content creators can come in and they, their whole job and what they're trying to do is get views. And by the way, when I say content creators, I mean actually content creators, not influencers. Hopefully the difference makes sense to you. But just really quickly, An influencer is somebody whose job is to just kind of show their life, right? They show their life and they talk about products. They basically live their life like that last girl does that ad, right? Like they're basically just saying they're making UGC all the time about some product or just whatever they're doing in their life, right? That's an influencer. They're usually like they do a lot of product stuff. Okay. A content creator is usually trying to create content that has like entertainment or education or information value in and of itself. Okay. So that is like conversations with my dog, right? So going back to that Norbert example, conversations with my dog would be a great example of somebody who's creating content where it's just them telling their dog what's going to go on today like it's a child. Okay. So that's like content that is supposed to be entertaining in and of itself. So that's what I mean when I say a content creator versus an influencer. We're talking about content creators, we're talking about comedians. I think those kinds of people really understand this idea of bridge content, or they're going to get this idea of bridge content a lot better than a brand. And I think the opportunity here for them is to come in and do bridge content for brands, because that's content that can actually take off organically and get like true organic exposure for the brand. And those pieces of content could then be used as ads. If the brand is already running ads, then this is also just like another way for them to get better ads. This could be some of their best performing ads, could be these bridge ads. And if you want evidence of that, just go look back at like Squatty Potty, Purple Mattress, those kinds of brands that Harmon Brothers. Chat Books was another one. Those kinds of brands that Harmon Brothers did. That's exactly what these were. Like those videos were sort of like they had their own. They could be viral on their own. They were just like funny videos, funny skit videos. That format of like really highly produced skit type video, that doesn't work as well anymore, but the idea still stands, right? Like we can make a really funny skit. And this is why I'm calling out Shane Gillis. This is why I'm, pointing out like people like JP Sears, Joe Rogan does this, right? Like we can do a really funny bit, a really funny skit, a really funny conversation on our podcast, or an interesting conversation on our podcast, or something like that, tie it into a product. And that piece of content in and of itself has opportunity for virality because it's content for content's sake, not content for the sake of selling the product. The product just kind of happens to be there. So hopefully this is making sense to you. Here's another example of what I think is very good bridge content. And this brand mostly does bridge content on their organic social media page. So if you want to go check out their Instagram, the brand is Live Bearded. Their marketing director, Nathan, is actually going to be on, I think, the next episode of the show. So they do mostly bridge content on their organic socials.
Pull off a beard. You can pull off my underwear.
So that sound is a guy about to shave his beard with a trimmer for the audio listeners.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Got a beard, whiskers, beard, not shaving, pulling it off. Just kidding. Beard.
Right. So if you were listening to that, you have no idea who the brand is, right? But he was wearing a Live Bearded hat. He had a Live Bearded shirt on. And the whole thing is kind of like about bearded content, right? So this is, again, bridge content. Content meant for mass consumption, meant to have mass appeal, but also meant to sort of like attract your people to you, right? It's a honeypot. It's a magnet. It's supposed to attract your people to you. It's supposed to kind of attract a lot of people, but within that wider swath of people that it attracts are your people, your tribe, your people who are going to buy from your brand. Comedians do this a lot, right? They post stand-up clips and they, just put in tour dates at the end because they're like, look, people who like stand-up clips, like this could be funny to everyone. This could go mega viral. And even people who don't like stand-up clips are going to see this in their feed if it goes mega viral. But if it doesn't go mega viral, then it could still hit 40,000, 50,000, 100,000 people who get a lot of stand-up clips in their feed, right? And I know this because I'm somebody who gets a lot of stand-up clips in my feed. Same thing, go onto your Instagram and your TikTok right now and see what kind of videos you get that are not huge, right? So you'll get some mega viral videos that are maybe not in the normal format or not in the normal niche that you watch, but go look at the ones that are not huge. So for my wife, it would be probably people making content about their kids or doing, mom skits or something like that. She'll get those served to her even when it hasn't had a ton of views yet and it hasn't had a ton of comments yet. right? But for her to get a stand-up clip, for her to get a stand-up comedy clip, it has to be huge already. For me to get a stand-up clip, it might only have 10 comments on it. I'm pretty early in that sort of algorithm when for that kind of content first starts finding people. But that kind of content can still go mega viral. So that's what I'm talking about here. It's like that kind of content that is a magnet and attractor for your people, but also has that opportunity and potential to be like mass interesting to a lot of people. Okay. That's bridge content. Again, if you could use it as an ad, it's bridge content. That's a good filter. Okay. So let's get into this 20 minutes in. Hopefully you guys understand the concept of bridge content. And just so you understand, so like Live Bearded, why do I think this is such a big opportunity? One, I don't think very many brands are doing it very well. Live Bearded is one of the few that does it pretty dang well. Two, most companies build from ad up, right? So their whole funnel is like top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. But their top of funnel is what I'm calling banner content that would really never get any organic play. So if they can just go one level up to bridge content, one, they have good organic social media content. Two, their next biggest ad can come from that. So most companies, if my next banger ad, if I get I could pay a lot of money for my next banger ad, right? So it's no problem at all for me, me to pay a comedian who's got 3,000 followers, 5,000 followers, somebody who's not very big at all. It's no problem at all for me to pay them to come up with 5 to 6 video ideas a month that are bridge content video ideas, because one, there's an opportunity for each of those to go viral organically, and two, there's a top opportunity for each of those to be my next banger ad. So I have no problem paying $1,000, $2,000 a month to maybe 3 or 4 different creators that do that, right? If I'm a brand that has some sort of traction. And even if I don't have a ton of traction, you can kind of DIY this. If you're a brand, if you're early stage, you can DIY this as a brand. Dog Sauce is a great example. Like, just go back and watch what they did, because all they did for like a year was just post bait content. And so then again, a brand like that, a comedian come, and then they built up their organic following, and then they launched the product, right? A comedian could come into something like that and say, oh, I'm going to make bridge content for them. Their heavy bait content. Most brands are built on sort of banner content and then like, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, sales aware content, right? Dog Sauce is a rare brand built on bait content, where they like did a bunch of mass appeal content for dog owners. And then now whenever they post something that's more product focused, it doesn't get as many views, right? So a comedian could come in there, do bridge content that actually still has the potential for mass views, but it introduces product a little bit more. So I think this is why there's such an opportunity here for comedians and content creators, because you could get, 2 brands, 3 brands that sort of align with the kind of content that you already like to do, right? Like the kind of content you already like to do is the kind of content that would go viral for their people, for that brand's like tribe, and brands that you like. So it's easy for you to come up with skit ideas or content ideas or whatever, right? Video ideas. And content creators and comedians, they're already wired that way. They're already wired to write for entertainment or write for education. Like, they're already wired that way. Okay, so again, going to spend the rest of the time here actually just doing live examples based on requests people have. All right, so the first one is Hello Scene, or it's Scene Skin and Beauty Care. All right, so this is the message that they have. They said, we have dermatologist designed skin and hair care products that are incredibly effective. Once people try them, they stay with them. They won't ever use anything else. We're looking for ideas to improve discovery online. A little bit of context there is that a lot of dermatologists sort of casually recommend their product, or people pick up the product in retail, but they're looking for ways to spread this online. And this is a good hard one, because this is something that I've noticed lately. Is the problem with actually knowing what you're doing is that everybody says they know what they're doing, right? So the problem with me actually having 12,000 companies worth of data and being on 1,000 consulting calls a year, and basically being able to see like the actual profits and the actual things that are working across like billions of dollars in revenue, is that everybody says everybody says they know what they're talking about, right? So when I say I know what I'm talking about, I just sound like everybody else, but I'm like, no, look, really, I have so much more information than all these other people who say that they know what they're talking about, right? But it sounds lame. You just sound like a tryhard when you do that, right? So this is one of the hardest things on the internet for a brand like Scene that has like this really incredible product. People try it, they never leave. It's actually hard to be like, oh, this product's really great. It's like, yeah, everybody says their product's really great, right? So how do you do this? How can we create some bridge content here? All right, so I'm going to use a format or a core concept. So I have like kind of, some categories that some ways that I break this down. I might do another video on this because I want to do more examples now. All right. So I'm going to use a core concept here that I'm going to call like visual shock, right? So visually, I want to shock and awe. All right. So a couple ideas I have for this is you could do like man on the street content, or I don't know if this would work on the street because it would be light out. You could do, some kind of content where you stop people somewhere and ask if you can like run a black light over their hair and face and stuff. So you can just like see basically all the stuff that's on their hair and face. So if they have, dandruff, or if they're like using stuff on their face for acne, that's, by the way, Seen very good for people with sensitive skin. It's good for people who have dandruff, good for people who have acne, that kind of thing. Right. So I can pull them up too. Right. But Seen hair care. Let me just pull them up. All right. So yeah, for your healthiest skin and hair, if I hit this and I shot by concern here, I'm going to make this a little more vertical. So we're looking at it how you would see it on mobile. If I see this and I shot by like, concern, skin and scalp, we've got, looks like acne. Oh, boom. Shot by concern. Fragrance sensitivity, eczema, dry, flaky scalp, acne, curly hair. Curly hair is a concern. I'm very concerned that I have curly hair. Yeah. Okay. So I think that, man on the street content where you basically find people who have dandruff or dry, flaky scalp, or people who have eczema, or like, just like run a black light over people. I don't know if people would let you, but that's idea number one. Again, this is a brainstorm. But that is something that like that concept of like, hey, can I run a black light over your head? Hey, can I look at your face under a black light? Like you can understand like, oh, that's interesting, right? Like if you're just scrolling through TikTok or you just scroll through Instagram, like you can inherently understand like, oh, that's kind of an interesting, what's going on here, right? And so then, inevitably they find some crazy stuff on people. Like they find super flaky scalps, give them Seen for free, right? That's it, right? So it's the type of content that can really be used as ads, but also the type of content that could go viral on its own, all right? Another visual shock and awe thing. So, like you could do skits of like, and so the reason I like that first idea is because it's a series. So look for that theme, like anything that can turn into a series. I love that, right? Because we can hit that content type over and over. We can get like 3 different series going that all have good traction. That's really we get kind of recurring viewership there a lot. And then if one of them dies down, we're just kind of always testing in the kind of the 4th and 5th spot. We're testing one-off video ideas. And then, is there a series? Can we test another series idea that can replace one of our core 3? So that's like a really good, can we get like, 2 or 3 recurring series as organic content? And then that can be used as ads as well as bridge content. I'm going to use that term, bridge content. Can we get 2 or 3 series going? And then in the other spots, we're going to try one-off content ideas and other new series ideas. All right. So I like that first idea, man on the street, black light, visual shock and awe, because we can use it as a series. All right. The next one I have is just like this is more of a one-off video idea, but like have somebody like itching. I mean, visually, I need to work this out, but like either show someone in a shower or itching their head, could be out in the world, could be in a shower, whatever, itching their head. And then like the joke is basically like, then it shows the floor by their feet. And it's just like a bunch of cornflakes falling out. Right. Or just something like that. Like, it's like this sort of like, and then like, there's maybe a text overlay that like me, whenever I itch my head, right. Or me, whenever I itch my dandruff head or whatever, like my husband, whenever he itches his head, my husband, he itches his head and then like friggin' some kind of like gross flaky thing comes all over. So I'm going for like visual grossness, visual shock and awe, something that will stop the scroll. These are very short ideas, right? That one's like, those are like 5-second videos, that's something like that. All right. And then yeah, I think you could also do like me before a date, do some zit popping stuff. I think you could stitch zit popping videos. All right. So reaction content to zit popping videos, always good stuff. Zit popping videos, great, great. And just have somebody react, or like have like the most like innocent, sensitive people react to it. I think that would be funny too. You could do like a little social media show here where you could have guests come and react to it with you. And then over time, the guests could get more significant, right? So imagine if you could get like Jennifer Lawrence reacting to zip popping stuff with you, right? So just like this is a social show, social series where we watch people pop zits, watch people poke their boils and stuff like that, right? So I think zit specifically, again, it's just a tie into like everybody kind of gets the idea of zit popping stuff. Some people have zits, some people don't, but the people who have zits definitely get attracted by that kind of content. You can be as light or as heavy as you want with the brand, overlay. Like it doesn't have to tie into the brand. Doesn't have to be some thing where we say like, oh yeah, they should just get Scene skincare instead, right? Like we don't even have to do that. It can just be a series where we're doing zip popping, and it's like that makes sense because it's Scene. We're doing zip popping, right? We could put a little tag at the end, like don't pop your zits like that. Get Scene instead, right? So yeah, you can do whatever you want with the product overlay. It could just be a logo overlaid on every video up in the top right corner or something like that. Okay. I think another like other just like shocking, visually shocking things. So I itch my head and like a big chunk of hair comes away, a big chunk of hair and maybe scalp if I want to get gross with it. Hair and scalp comes away, right? So just hooky stuff like that. I think that kind of stuff could work too. So this can also be really lo-fi. So like, let's see, I think that I saw this thing on TikTok. So this is unrelated, but this thought just triggered for me. So a lot of times I'm just like kind of you're catching me in like live conversation here, where I'm talking to myself, but I'm talking to you, the viewer, as well. So I'm not logged into TikTok, so this might not be a no-go. Okay. Anyway, I saw that. I'll just describe it. I saw this video on TikTok that was like a normal day living in Australia, and it had just like a bunch of freaking gross, disgusting animals inside this house. So that's like really lo-fi. It's just like a bunch of people's B-roll of that, right? Like a normal day living with dandruff, a normal day living like that's a little bit more it's a little bit more on the banner side of the bridge content concept, right? But then you got more on like the more on the bait side of the bridge content concept. A lot of word stumbling here. More on the bait side would be like reactions to pimple popping, right? I think you can, stitch. You could also, last thing I had here was you could do stitches or overlays of like beauty content. You could do like parodies of beauty content here. So you could do like get ready with me to go to, I don't know, the YouTube Streamy Awards, or get ready with me to go on a date with my man who's a minor league baseball player. I swear all the influencers are dating minor league baseball players. What's with that? If you want to date an influencer girly, get into minor league baseball. I think that it's pretty easy career track to get into when you're older. Like you don't need to get into that when you're like a little kid to eventually become a minor league player, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, like get ready with me. Well, I get ready to go to my hubby's game or something like that, right? And then just stitch that with some chick who just like does one thing, right? So she's like, so first I'm going to lay this, blah, 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 blah. And then just like some chick just does one thing. And so then, that's kind of a series as well. Just get ready with me, find all the viral get ready with me's, and then do like a version that's just like, okay, I just did this and that's it, right? I think that's good. Or or you could flip that and do get ready with me's using Scene products that are stitches or reactions to other types of viral content. So then that opens you up to all kinds of viral content. Like what are the kinds of content that literally anybody who might like our products would like? Let's do stitch reactions or green screen reactions while we're getting ready. I think stitches work better for a get ready with me. While we're doing a get ready, let's do stitch reactions to that content. Right. So I think that's plenty of ideas for Scene. Let's go to the next one. All right. Next one is I sell digital products and services in the health and fitness niche. Okay, this is good. So digital products and services in the health and fitness niche. I think that what this person means is that they sell courses. So this is like, I don't know if you've ever seen ads for like, are you looking to get shredded in the new year? Like, without having to go to the gym all the time and getting to eat whatever you want. Basically, there's so much, there's a lot of stuff in health and fitness. Okay. It's like a really big market. I think that this one works well with, like, this is a market where a lot of information and educational content already goes really viral. So you could always go that route, but I think that what's hard about that is if you're not already established as like a really big like health or fitness influencer, it's probably hard to like differentiate yourself. So I guess you could be really ripped. That's one thing that gives you authority. So if you're really ripped, you're probably already doing that. You're probably already doing the same kinds of content as all the other health and fitness influencers. So if we're looking at like what's the bridge content here, all the health and fitness influencers, that's what they're doing when they do informational content about what you shouldn't, like this is the food you should always avoid, or stop counting your macros. They're doing like controversial health stuff, or they're like, you only need to do these 4 lifts to look like friggin' The Rock, right? These 4 lifts will get you shredded up like Gerard Butler in 300. These 4 lifts will make you Ryan Gosling or Ryan Reynolds, whichever Ryan you prefer, right? This is that's like already kind of the type of content that goes viral in that space. So I assume that this person is already doing that. So if we're thinking about like some other angles here, again, that is actually like a great example of bridge content. It's content meant to just be informational or educational and build that person's authority, but attract people who are like somewhat interested in that. But then again, like I said with the like stand-up comedy thing, but if it was like big enough and interesting enough, it can gain a wider and wider audience of more and more people who get like less health and fitness content. Right. So it's like, that's the kind of content that has a chance to go mega viral, could be interesting to anybody, but is definitely interesting to people who are interested in the kind of products you sell. Okay. So I guess that's the core concept of informational content. So there's a bunch of like pitches for that, but I think that this person's probably already seen that. So if I'm giving them other ideas, I think that, okay, so I think anytime you're in a niche where there's already a lot of content in that niche, there's already like a very proven way to create content and go viral. So this would be health and fitness is a good example of this. Business or make money online are good examples of basically all of the niches where people sell courses, are good examples of this. Money, wealth management, that kind of thing. Like Dave Ramsey's huge, just doing content. Those are all really ripe for like parody or out of place content. So out of place is a concept where you take thing and you put it where it doesn't belong. All right. So I just cited an example a second ago. I take super poisonous snake, put it on my ceiling fan, right? That's out of place and that's interesting and like it captures attention. That's from that Australia normal day in Australia TikTok I talk is like all spiders and freaking koala bears and snakes inside people's houses. Like there was one, the snake was on the ceiling fan and it got flung off the ceiling fan at the dude. And I hated it. I hated every second of it. And it stressed me out. I'm thinking about it right now. My heart is racing and I never want to visit Australia. But it's just all stuff that's out of place. So this works well, out of place content. Or parody content. So I think that you could do parody health and fitness content, tons of opportunity there. Oh, I just thought of an example. Okay. So this isn't health and fitness, but you could totally do the same thing in health and fitness. Here's another example actually I got a couple examples here. All right. So this isn't health and fitness, but you could totally do the same concept. This is parody content for like a different niche. I think, let me find a really good example here. So this guy here, I'll drop my screen up so you can kind of see me do that. All right. So this guy is good. He's got a couple of these pinned. All right. So this is a good one.
A lot of people say the best revenge in life is success. But if you just go out there into the world and crush it, that'll get it. That'll show them.
Yeah.
Wrong.
That's a loser mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think actually, I don't know if this is, if the audio for this is coming through. So give me 1 second here. Hopefully it is. I'll actually, yeah, I could just probably download the video and pull it up here. Can I pause this recording? All right, let me pause this recording. I'm going to download the video and pull it up here. All right, so here we go. I got some examples here. These are from, I've got a couple here from this guy, Andrew Hamilton. He's a comedian in Australia. And, just a heads up, they're comedy, they're like, they can be a little dark or a little bit dirty. But like, this is a good example of parody content for like kind of those like gurus, mindset gurus, or, entrepreneur gurus. This is a good example here.
Say the best revenge in life is success. But if you just go out there into the world and crush it, that'll get it. That'll show them.
Yeah.
Wrong.
That's a loser mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The best revenge is to actually follow someone when they leave their work.
Okay.
You're in your car and you follow them.
Right.
And when they're walking down their street towards their home, you mount the curb.
Wow. Okay.
And you actually mow them down. And when they bounce off your windshield and are laying on the ground struggling to breathe, you go up and lean down and whisper in their ear, "Gotcha."
I mean, that's just a much more satisfying way to get revenge than becoming successful.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's fantastic.
That's just a much more satisfying way to becoming successful. You whisper, "Gotcha." Okay. Yeah. Here's another. I think that one's a little bit extreme. Here's another one that I think is kind of fun.
The best things in life are free.
Absolutely.
Sun shining on your face, cool breeze through your hair, the love of family and friends.
It's easy to forget how much we truly have.
That's what I tell my employees. Anytime they come in asking for a pay rise, I just say to them, look, you already have so much, and yet you're coming to me asking for more.
Some people really do need to focus more on gratitude.
Right.
So again, parody content. Now look, yeah, if you want to try and write this in-house, that's, you can go study writing parody content if you're a marketer, if you're a brand owner or whatever. But this is exactly what I mean when I say, I think content creators, comedians, people who are already making skits on the internet can easily, like, this is the kind of stuff they're thinking of all the time already. Right. So again, we're back to, it was health and fitness, content ideas for health and fitness, bridge content ideas for health and fitness. There's tons of opportunity. There's so much. Just take anything that goes viral, right? So in the entrepreneur space, morning routines go viral all the time, right? Make parody content about that. Or in the fitness space, yeah, whatever, anything that goes viral from any kind of fitness, like, can you make a parody version of it? I think that's like just creates a lot of fodder for you, right? Another thing that I said before is like the out of place. So thing that we know in a place that it's not supposed to be. So here's an example that I saw while I was pulling up those other ones from what is actually already in the health and fitness space. So this is a group of people that does like training for basketball players.
It's basketball. We're all about training in the unpredictable and having to adapt to our environment. Here's a quick glimpse into one of our sessions.
So just a heads up, this is a guy who's dribbling a basketball for the audio listeners. He's dribbling the basketball with like 4 alligators around him. And then there's a title overlay that says 1v4 press break. And then now he's dribbling with like a dog coming, like attacking him, basically. It's a small dog, so he's okay, but yeah. It says 1v1 handle pressure. Now it's a crocodile again, and it says 1v1 stay alive, and the crocodile's coming up out of the water at him. Last one, he's running from an emu. It says 1v1 speed dribble. So same kind of thing is like, you could do out of place content. I think for health fitness, you could just be like go do it where what doesn't belong. So I think fitness would be funny. Like, you could do like, you could rip these ideas that we talked about directly, right? Like you could just get chased by predators, be like, at XYZ Health and Fitness, we do things a little bit different. Our program calls for you to go out into the woods and get chased by predators or whatever, right? Like you could do a little bit better than that, but you get what I'm saying. But you also could just do like fitness things out of place, like go to the DMV and do burpees, or like doing some pull-ups in the door frame at a restaurant, or you could pick up somebody's toddler at the movie theater and just start doing curls with them. So I think that like those are all ideas that you could try, that are just like a little bit of pattern breakers and our parody content. So thing out of place, right? And then, yeah, I think you could also do man on the street interviews. I go back to man on the street a lot because it's a format that's working well right now. Don't get married to any of these formats. They might change over time, but man on the street works well right now. You can do man on the street interviews of like that, like in fitness in places where fitness doesn't make sense. So like, go to like a all you can eat buffet, like a Golden Corral or something like that at like 4 PM on a Wednesday when all the old people are there, and it's be like, hey, you dropping creatine to some like 75-year-old grandma. And so she's just like ask very nichey type of questions that like when people watch it, it has this kind of broad appeal. People will get it. But like who will really get it first, get it right away are the people who like know what creatine is. Right. So yeah, I think those are a couple ideas for that one. I think we can move on from that one. Next one is I sell bagels. I struggle with that word. I sell bagels that have only 70 calories and 2 grams of net carbs, but actually taste like good bagels. So I'm gonna pick it up here. I'm just gonna give one idea for this. So bagels, better for you bagels. Okay, so I think a better for you idea. You have to get to what people really understand here, or like understand what kinds of people like your product. I think that a concept everybody can relate to is like they do things that are bad for them, and then they want to do things that are better for them. But like doing the best version is really hard, right? So I eat like crap. I eat a bunch of pizza. I eat, bread. I eat regular bagels with regular cream cheese on them, regular schmear, if you will. Now, like there's the option of like, oh, you should just like eat healthy, eat really clean macros and eat organic and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, let's just be real. Not going to happen. Not going to do that. I like eating too much, so I think there's like people have bad habits, and then there's like the best version of the habit, the thing they know they should do. But then there's a version of the habit that's like the Diet Coke, right? Hey, why don't you just switch out your Coke for Diet Coke, right? Just do something that's a little better for you. It doesn't even have to be great for you. Diet Coke, not great for you. We're not calling it good for you, but it's a little bit better for you. It sounds like these might actually be decently good for you, but either way, it's like you don't have to cut out carbs. You just have to, replace your carbs with like something a little bit better that tastes just as good. So I think, I'm kind of brainstorming. I'm rolling through here. People can all understand this concept of like bad habit. There's like the best version, and then there's like, can I just like be a little bit less of a degenerate? Right. So I think you could do a whole series about being like a little bit less of a degenerate. So, I think there's a content play here where you could be like, like act like it's this big self-development thing and be like, yeah, I used to just throw all of my recycling in the garbage. But now I throw, my cans in the recycling bin, or like, but like you still throw everything else in the garbage. That was a bad example off the top of my head, but like, I used to hate dogs. So I would kick every dog that came up to me. And now I just tell them to go away. Like that's a little bit better. It's not great. Like yelling at other people's dogs, still not great. Or I used to hate other people's kids. So I would purposely shove them to the ground. Now I just stay away from them and tell them I don't like kids. Like not better. Right. So it's like a little bit less of a degenerate. That could be a content series here. I think another one could be like, it could be asking people their worst habits. So you could do this in formats like you could do this man on the street. You could do this. There's a lot of formats you could do this in. You could do it man on the street. You could do a podcast. So you could actually have like people come in and talk about their crappy habit. You could have comedians come in and talk about their crappy habits. But yeah, like just somebody comes in and is like, yeah, I, always, I have to, I have to massage my feet to go to bed, or like I can only sleep in one pair of socks, and so if I ever wash it then I can't sleep, so I never wash it, or something like that. I think like, oh, here's a good one for me. All right, so like, or you could do variations of this. So again, man on the street, you could do reactions to things that people have confessed on the internet. You could do a podcast, but like one for me is like I eat donuts, but I eat only half of donuts. So I only eat a half of a donut, but we're not talking about like cutting it in half. We're talking about like horizontally cutting it in half. And I eat the top half of the donut, and I leave the bottom half of the donut in the box for someone in my family to eat, because my kids are still young enough that it'll trick them. Like it's in a donut box. So they'll be like, oh, sweet, a donut. and I ate the frosted part already, and so they just have the bottom of the donut, but they're kids, so they're dumb enough to eat it still. So like that's like a good example, I think, of a pretty crappy habit, you know. So you could just ask people these crappy habits, or you could ask them like different versions of that. What's the most disgusting thing you've ever eaten? So like I would say, you know, it'd be like, what's the most disgusting thing you've ever eaten? I eat like when I was a kid, I eat like what I call a sauce suicide. And that's where you go to your fridge and you get every sauce out of there. So it could be like barbecue ranch, or it could be barbecue sauce, it could be ranch, could be ketchup in there, mustard, could be teriyaki sauce, could be some hot sauce in there. You get every sauce out of there and you just put it all into a bowl. And then I can't believe I'm saying this. I really did this. I really do this as a kid. I don't really do this anymore. I really did this as a kid. I would put it all into a bowl, and then I would take a piece of bread and just like dip it in there, like just make a mix. So it's like when you go to, I call it a sauce suicide, because when you go to a soda fountain and you get every like kind of soda in the soda fountain, that's called a suicide, which is also pretty gross, by the way. You could have a sauce suicide and a soda suicide in the same meal, and you would have a meal that had a lot of S's in it, had a lot of alliterations in it. Anyway, so yeah, used to eat the sauce suicide, and I would just get like something simple, like a piece of bread, and just like dip it in this concoction of sauce and eat it. And that was like my after school snack. You know, or if you're really hardcore, you could just eat it with a spoon, right? So like get stuff like that out of people, right? I think that would be funny. And then it's just people sharing their nasty habits type of thing. Again, you know, everyone can relate to that. Everyone can think stuff like that is funny. And then you can tag it at the end and just be like, look, we can't fix all your nasty habits, but we can at least make your bagels a little more healthy, right? And without them tasting worse, right? So you could just tag that onto every video, or you could not, right? This could be just a viral content idea. If you don't tie it into products somehow, then it's more bait content, right? Then it's more in the category of like, we're trying to just go viral. But because you're constraining it to this idea of a little bit better for you or people's bad habits, it's right there on the edge of bridge content. Because if you're going bait content, you're trying to do whatever gets views, right? But in this case, you're constraining yourself creatively to something that would be relevant to the product here, right? So hopefully you guys are getting this, and this is where obviously comedians and content creators like better at this kind of stuff usually than like an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are usually very like, you know, people focused, numbers focused, that kind of thing. All right, last one. This one is, oh gosh, this one's going to be tough. All right. So, hey, John, I'm curious if you have any funny ideas for alpha male content. Like, how would you sell Andrew Tate's products with humor instead of red pill content? Sometimes people ask stuff like this if they are a competitor, like if they're like, oh, I sell the same kind of stuff as him, but I don't want to do red pill, or like they work with a person who's an influencer. They work with this person's brand, and that person like wants to rebrand because it's just not genuine to them anymore, or something like that. So I think Andrew Tate has an e-commerce brand. I'm just going to look this up. E-com brand, Andrew Tate e-com brand. See if we can come up with this. Yeah, he does. It's called Top G. Andrew Tate's e-com brand is called Top G. All right. This is the last one we're going to do, by the way, guys. So obviously Andrew Tate does plenty of like bait content and bridge content, but the challenge here is if we sold the stuff on Top G with funny content, this person actually wanted funny ideas instead of red pill type ideas. So I'm just going to pull up Top G here. Share screen. Let's look at some of these products on Top G. All right. Are you ready to dominate? This is what their pop-up says. It says, are you ready to dominate? Stay in the know and get early access to our drops on our exclusive mailing list. Be first, be unstoppable. I already love this website. All right. So we got some kind of supplement, get fire blood. Let's, how do we shop like just all their products? All right. Oh, okay. So let's see. Let's see what they got here. Let's look at just shop now. All right, show me everything. You got the money fitted velour tracksuit. The money fitted velour tracksuit. Okay. So I think that probably a lot of it is like his supplements, Fire Blood, the one ultimate supplement to ignite your life. Tate's free t-shirt. G-robe. This works on multiple levels. It's a $150 robe, $153 robe. It's called the G robe. It's gray. So gray robe, G robe makes sense. But also because he's a true G, right? So there's a lot of wordplay here with the G robe. $150 robe is wild. All right. So I think what you could do here, this is just if you're going humor, like these products are just ripe for parody. So I think what you do here is you just got to go like straight humor with these products, straight parody with these products, and just make fun of like alpha bros, right? And be like, the type of bros that wear this, like Andrew Tate. So I think that actually, what would be really funny with these products, since they're all such simple products, it's just like, this is just a gray robe, but it's an Andrew Tate gray robe. I think that what would be funny with these products is to do like a fake infomercial for them. So like you would just, like you basically, you come up with some like pain thing. You know what, actually, I think I could come up with something pretty quick, just not right here on the spot. So the pause recording thing a second ago gave me an idea. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause recording and I'm going to come up with a couple scripts that would be like person telling a story on social media, right? So this could be a person doing a vlog. It could be, a person, whose voice is underlaid onto like B-roll. This could be a person, this could be like really high-end documentary style. It could be somebody on a podcast telling this story, but they're like, this is going to be a fake story. It's going to be parody. So that's going to be the premise here. I'm going to pause the recording and I'm going to come back with it. Okay, so here's what I did. I actually just tried to give myself a little bit of a time limit. So these are fast scripts. I gave myself basically 10 minutes to write these scripts. And I just used a simple kind of copywriting formula called pain, agitate, solution, where you state the pain point, you agitate the pain point, and then you do a solution. But these are all like parody, right? So this is meant to be funny, right? So this is kind of like within the normal format of an infomercial, but it's shorter and it's meant to be like somebody telling a story to the camera type of thing, right? And yeah, so then I just did that, wrote all the jokes I could. I did pain, agitate, solution. I came up with hook. Then I wrote all the jokes I could think of to like agitate the pain. And then I wrote, the solution, which is the product. And then I wrote all the jokes I could think of to like proof the solution, right? And say, here's why it works or whatever. And then I just put it into Chat GPT, had it spit out a script for me. And then I went through and I did punch ups. So I'm just telling you the process here. If you do want to try this yourself, like I'm not a comedian. So, if you think these are decent, you can do it yourself. But again, this is where people who are script writers, comedians can really come in and like, without paying somebody much, you could pay somebody for a couple hours of pay a comedian for a couple hours of consulting to come up with a bunch of ideas for you and maybe write some basic outlines, or pay a comedian $1,500, $2,000 a month to do 4 videos a month for you that are bridge content, right? And you could get something like this. Hopefully this is funny or hopefully this is good and you guys like it. All right, so first one is I'm going to do the G robe. I had to. Okay. I got to get into character for this one, right? Because this is a guy who's like sharing a really vulnerable experience in his life. So I'm not an actor, not a comedian, just so give me the leeway there. Okay. So when I was in Russian prison the first time, the other inmates had no respect for me. I remember my first night, they gave me a nickname. They called me Suka. I don't know what it meant, but I remember I thought, hey, I've never had a nickname before. This is going to be great. But it honestly, it went downhill from there. I remember the next day we went to the sauna and they made me dab the sweat off of Ivan P's hair, off of his chest hair. He had a really hairy chest. I had to dab the sweat off. That was my job. My job also as the low man on the totem pole. My other job was to clip Dimitri's toenails. I had to do that every 3 days. Dimitri, his toenails grew fast and there was a lot of fungus and it was bad. I remember they also make me, they used to make me, I remember they used to make me stay up all night because there was no white noise machines or any kind of noise in there. So they used to make me stay up all night and make white noise with my mouth so that Alexi could sleep. So it would just be there making white noise like all night with my mouth. And if I fell asleep, he would take a lead pencil and stab me in the toe with it. And it got pretty bad in there. Honestly, I was going through a lot. I didn't think I was going to survive it. I thought my life was in danger. And that's when I found the G robe by Andrew Tate. I remember the first day I wore the G robe into the shower area. Ivan K looked at me and he nodded. And that day, he didn't make me scrub his back in the shower. And he didn't use my beard as a loofah. And, you know, if that's not respect in the gulag, I don't know what is. And one day I remember I was laying in bed in my G robe. My bed was actually just the floor beneath Boris's bed. And I was laying in there and I was just manifesting respect. These guys have to respect me. I'm manifesting it, you know, because that's what the G robe, you know, teaches you to do, is to manifest. And the next day, this kid named Kyle came and he had gotten caught with 1/2 gram of marijuana. He got 25 years for that. Kyle, he was from Long Beach. He was an American. And after that, Kyle was the one who had to distract the bears while everybody used the outhouse. You know, because of the G robe, I was able to build lifelong friendships. You know, Dimitri, Alexi, Boris, we all still stay in touch. I don't stay in touch with Kyle, though. Ivan G sent me a letter last year, actually. He said, Kyle didn't make it. One of the bears got him. You know, Kyle was a good kid. He was just, he couldn't run the zigzag pattern in the snow. Look, building lifelong friendships. Let me go again. Look, building lifelong friendships with the Russian mafia is hard, but the G robe makes it easy. And right now, Andrew Tate and Top G are offering to give you 2 free robes to share with your new Russian friends when you buy 2 for yourself. But wait, there's more. The next 200 people who order a G robe are actually going to get a free bottle of Cobra Pheromone by Andrew Tate. Cobra Pheromone is scientifically proven to make men with Alex in their name like you. Between Alexei and Alexander, that's like most of the Russian men. Call now and get your G robe. Don't wait until you have to distract the bears. It might be too late. Miss you, Kyle. End scene. All right. So look, that, you know, when you're watching that live on the podcast or listen to that live on the podcast, might have sounded a little bit cheesy. It's a little weird trying to do a comedy skit here with nobody watching. But if you picture that edited together, cut together, some music in the background, some sad music, and then like the uplifting music when I introduce the G robe, you could see how something like that could maybe work. Or maybe you don't think it's funny. But either way, like I said, I'm not a comedian. That was a 10-minute write. You can see how you could come up with a lot of these ideas. And again, they could go viral without ads. But then if they worked, they could also be used as an ad. That's the magic of bridge content. And that's where, you know, if you're a content creator, this is a huge opportunity for you to reach out to a couple brands that you really like and make some money, and reach out to a couple brands that really fit your content style and make some money. And if you're a brand, then yeah, just work with some content creators. I think a really good pay structure on this would be to pay content creators, you know, a monthly fee for a certain number of videos, but then also give them a bonus, you know, some bonuses based on organic views and some bonuses based on if it's an ad that gets a certain amount of spend, right? So if you test one of their videos as an ad that gets a certain amount of spend, or as an ad that gets a certain level of return, right? Like give them a bonus if it is, I don't know what your metrics are, but give them a bonus if it hits a certain number of organic views. Give them certain numbers, maybe it's tiered, and then give them some bonuses as well if it's like one of your best performing ads, right? So as a content creator, you know, or as a comedian, you could get 2-3 brands. I think this is a really needed thing for brands. It's a really easy thing for them to say yes to if they're the right level of brand to pay you $1,500 a month, $1,000 to $2,000 a month. You come up with a certain, like, you know, 4 video ideas, 6 video ideas, something like that. You shoot them. And then, you know, there's a bonus structure in place for you as well. Like that's actually like a pretty decent living, even if you don't have a huge following as a comedian or content creator. And I think this is a huge opportunity for the brands as well, because this is the kind of content that all the brands are missing, and they don't know how to do their organic social. So that's that. I did do one more I did do one more script of a top G product. Here's what we're going to do. I'll do the other script of a top G product. I will do it and I will cut it up into a clip, but you got to comment below. You got to comment that, let us see the other top G product, or let us see the other top G script. I'll do it and I'll cut it up and I'll put it on my socials. So it would be like actually how it would look. But you guys got to comment below. I'm not going to read the script live here on the podcast. You only get it if you comment for it. So also please subscribe. So you got to comment you got to either leave a review and ask for it, be like, hey, do the other top G product, or comment below and say, do the other top G product. But you also have to follow me on whatever platform you're listening to, subscribe if you're on YouTube, hit the bell icon for notifications. And I really appreciate, hopefully this episode was helpful for you guys, and we'll see you next time.